So that's what I told him. The God of the Bible is pro-slavery. Oh, nice. What was that? My intro. Oh, my intro. Okay, we'll talk later. We'll get back to this. Okay. Find a carpet. You look nice. Let's go. Yeah. Whoo, okay. And crash landing. Where am I? There I am. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Jestero the Jester, and we have now made it into debate part 4. Yes. And with this debate, it starts to turn up the heat, which I really like. And ST Cass is an excellent debate partner. Again, I will say this. We even spoke recently, actually, and continue to have more debates and discussions. Let's get right into it, though. Let's see what that gentleman's got. Yeah, they just drilled a hole into his ear. I'm like, no, like, okay. Real quick, I want to actually take a moment and tell you that in order to understand the context of the conversation, it might be important, it is important that you watch the videos beforehand. Since this is debate part 4, we want to make sure that we understand what's happening in this conversation. That way we can get more of ST Cass's side and more of my side if you're interested. Or you could just jump right into this video and try to figure it out. But yes, Christians and non-Christians will agree that when it comes to the Bible, context matters. Okay, back to the video. Thank you. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just like an ear piercing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Reading that, do you smell any issues with that?
Well,
That I could see.
I mean,
Like, that you would think that I would be looking at.
I'm assuming that there's going to be a issue about him like staying in the slavery and the idea of him giving him a wife.
Yeah, so there's that part, because Exodus 21 verse 7 through 11 actually like kind of like explains like how a master could give the slave a wife. But check this out. Also, if you saw when you were reading it, it says that and if the master gives the slave a wife and she bears some children, then the wife and the children will not go out because they are property of the masters. And right there, that is chattel slavery. Chattel slavery is just about owning a person as property with no rights. Like, you're done.
You said that there were specifically a set of rules for giving the wife to them?
So what it
Where was that
explains
at?
is Exodus, just like the next verse, leading next one, which is 7 through 11, where it talks about when a man sells his daughter as a slave, she may not go out as the male slaves do. So basically, there is like once the daughter is sold as a slave, like that's it. It can be as a wife or a concubine or even. And it doesn't always, like, people will make this extra, like, try to put extra evil emphasis on this. And sometimes, like, the daughter sold as a slave will just be one that works, that does, like, making fabrics and all that stuff, and not sold as a sex slave. But also sex slaves.
I mean, if that was the case, then they would likely be pulled before the Sanhedrin and like stoned for that. They likely would not have gotten away with that.
But it would. But no,
sorry.
God would,
someone. What's up?
Yeah. No.
Debt slavery. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Slave serving. Okay. Yeah. But okay.
Yeah, we know that we're talking about the extra nuanced slavery parts.
Right. It's weird.
So without knowing what the exact did you mention what the verses are of like what the conditions are to give a man a wife?
Oh yeah, no, like, and this is the thing with this is that God's cool with it. And I'm not, and like just based on the evidence, especially I believe it's in oh yeah, Numbers 31 verse 17. That's a bad spot.
Numbers
31:17.
Okay.
But before we jump to
look
that, you can go ahead,
Okay.
like, turn your book to it, but I do want to touch on this spot. With Exodus 21 verse 2 through 6, I have a problem with this because one, like, this male Hebrew slave is getting manipulated into staying a slave for life. Because what man would want to, like, as you have a life with your wife and you even have children with them, like, you're free to just go out, but you know that your wife and the children are property of the masters and they can't go out free. Now,
Okay.
of course, I will say this, like, there is a progression in this law later on, but like at this moment in time of the Moses journey, this I have a problem with. It does have a progression in Deuteronomy and in Leviticus as well, where the Hebrews are treated as hired laborers and all that stuff. But right here, at this point in time, I have a problem with this law. I see it as an unjust law.
So what we're seeing here is the very start of these laws as they're going through the desert. We do see them progress later, like you said. Like they're tightening the noose around slavery, as it were. Bad metaphor, but whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah.
God forbid. But the point is that we do eventually get into the New Testament, which is current, which is today. Which is,
and it also never
basically saying, hey,
it never condemned
the
slavery.
Entire Atlantic slave trade should have never happened. Well, the problem is this: it doesn't need to like directly condemn it if you are faithful. If you are faithful and you read and it says there is no slave nor free in God, and you say that this person is my brother, then why would you?
Right, you're talking about Galatians
stuff your
3:28
brother into. I mean, it's in one of Paul's letters. We could look it up.
I think that is Galatians 3:28, because then you would also have to get rid of gender as well too, because it says neither male nor female.
Yeah.
So trans rights.
The thing.
All right, just wanted to take a moment to say Happy Pride Month, everybody. I just now stumbled into this world. It is a Pride Month 2026 world, and just wanted to say that real quick. And I saw this looks interesting and very important. Comes with a hotline number and everything and a website. Okay. And yes, the main message, you are not alone. I agree with this message. Pretty cool world. All right, back to the debate.
The thing that we're looking at here is we're looking at a slow progression out of the horrors of this society into like what we have, a better representation of like what we have today.
Right.
And what we should still be striving towards. Peace, love, the fruit of the spirits that we talked about.
These commandments are, like, from my standpoint, are just propaganda, being like, hey, God said this and you better follow. Because with this, like, do you have let's fact check this. Do you have a personal problem with having a person, like, if this little moth was your slave for life, do you have an issue with that? Do you have a problem with Neon being your personal slave for the rest of Neon's life?
Well, I would just free him.
Right, because you wouldn't have him as a slave to begin with.
Well, I mean, I might have him help me clean up my house, and then I'd free him.
Yeah, you're gonna earn it, buddy. Holy cow!
Grab that broom. Hey, I'll grab it with you, though.
Oh,
But I'll free you, buddy. You know what I mean?
Holy cow!
I would not keep a slave. No, because as we're called to do in the current, that's not a thing that we should do ever.
Right.
And that, yeah.
Yeah, especially called like because in besides that spot, which it doesn't help that spot, which it's a nice spot because I see what you're saying. People who were fighting against slavery probably used Galatians 3:28.
Yeah, the abolitionists.
Yes. Yeah. But then there were people that were using what I was talking about in
The slave Bible.
Yes. But they also took out like 90% of the Old Testament, especially the Exodus story. Yeah, that was horrible. But they would use the regular Bible to be like, yeah, this is the will of the Almighty Creator. That's actually in the Declaration of Secession of Texas. And
that makes sense if it was
61. I think it was 1861.
6,000 years ago.
Yeah. But there were Christians that were like, yeah, slavery's cool. And there were Christians that were like, no, we're going to fight this shit.
Yeah,
because of
the
different
latter
interpretations.
half I would identify with.
Of course.
The first half, I would say they're an embarrassment, frankly.
Yes. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, because if you read the Bible, which you have, you cannot say that God never endorsed slavery, like never had approval of the system of slavery.
Right. It's more of a thing that like God is showing you that this is the way it was, and then now, no. Stop.
Right, but so check this out. Could he? Well, he actually never says stop. Neither does Jesus. Jesus even kind of encourages, like, yeah, that you should keep treating your slave like this.
Can I ask you how you could? How could you look at what was done to the African slaves, the Native American slaves, the Mexican slaves, and then tell me that their owners loved them like Jesus did?
Right. Yeah, they probably didn't.
And if we're
they're probably better. They were probably better, like masters, like treating in better ways. But then it doesn't matter. They were still property.
How could you say that you love them if you say that you can't own a person? God owns you, right? And if you own a person, that's an affront to God.
Well, if you look at Paul's letters as well too, he's like, slaves, obey your masters, even those that treat you harshly. But masters also treat your slaves nicely.
Correct. Yeah. Well, because what we see here, what's
still
happening
not condemning
is
slavery.
He knows, right, and then he goes to say that there is no difference in the eyes of the Lord. So if we are truly faithful, right, and if we are to love people like Christ does, right, then there cannot be a difference in our eyes between slave and free, which means we'd have to logically assume that we could never treat somebody the way that any of them were treated. We could never own a person if we love them the way that Christ loves us.
This is for you, Dr. Josh. This is for you. Therefore what? Since I brought him up, I wanted to tell y'all about Dr. Joshua Bowen. Dr. Josh is a specialist in the Hebrew Bible and ancient Near Eastern literature. For more information about Dr. Josh, head over to the website digitalhammurabi.com. Check out what they have to offer as far as books, courses, videos, and more. Learn about Dr. Josh and Megan Lewis, too. She's a super excellent Assyriologist as well. Now I'm going to show you a small clip from the Deep Drinks podcast on YouTube. David McDonald has many fantastic videos on his platform, and this one featuring Dr. Josh stood out to me. It's titled, "This Apologist is Lying to Millions: The Truth About Slavery in the Bible." Let's take a look.
They remember this question. Therefore, what? If people can remember to ask the question, therefore, what? It will help them go so far in these discussions. So let's try it here. He's just pointed out Exodus 21:16, right? Which says if you steal somebody to subject them to slavery, it's a free person, by the way. If you steal them and subject them to slavery, sell them, you have them in your hand, trying to sell them, whatever, you get killed, right? It's illegal to kidnap people to subject them to slavery, right? Guess what? It was illegal everywhere in the ancient Near East to do that. Hello? Anybody home? But let's forget all that for a second. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's just in the Hebrew Bible. And the Hebrew Bible is brand new, and it says, hey, it's illegal to kidnap people and subject them to slavery. Therefore, what? Because the answer to that question, if you ask that to Cliff, therefore what? His answer is going to have to be, I guess this makes slavery okay. Right? Because, well, I mean, you can't kidnap people and subject. Yeah, but then the text says that you can have slaves. Yeah, but it says that you can't kidnap them and subject a free person to slavery, and that's the death penalty. Therefore, what, Cliff? So there's no slavery? Like, is that the point that you're trying to make? Because, like, the next set of verses talks about what to do with your slave. Like, so, but it's that question. So when apologists come to you and say, well, if a slave runs away, then you can't return him. Let's just assume for the sake of argument that is a reasonable argument. It's not. Therefore, what? So it's okay to have the slave as long as they can be freed if they run away? It's okay to subject somebody to slavery and take away their personal freedom if they have the opportunity to run away and be freed? That's your argument? Oh, after 6 years, they have to be freed. Therefore, what? So if somebody is freed after 6 years, then it's okay to enslave them for those 6 years? Is that what you're saying? Like, just remember that question back. Therefore, what? And make them actually finish the thought and defend their position. Because what they want to do is what Cliff is doing now. And that's to say, like, look, it's not as bad. I heard somebody do this today, and then I'll shut up. But I heard somebody do this today talking about the Deuteronomy 21:10-14 passage, which talks about taking a captive bride, right? And they're talking about what they have to be given a whole month to mourn, and the guy just can't just go in and have sex with her immediately, and if he puts her away, he can't just sell her to a foreign people. Therefore, what? It was okay to take a captive bride under duress, right? Without her consent. It's okay to go in and have sex with her and make her your wife without her. That's okay, as long as if you don't like the way she's having sex with you, that you can put her out, but you can't sell her. Like, is that what you're really arguing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
The whole video is worth the watch, and I will have a link to it in my description. But all right, time to get back to the debate.
Oh, well, therefore, like, what we see is that, like, slavery is wrong, and we need to, like...
Which I really like your perception on this, I do. But did that perception get rid of slavery after Paul's letters in Galatians?
No, well, okay, let me try to illustrate this.
The Institute of Slavery was still very rampant, and even Pope Nick... No, check this out. There was actually... I forget who it was. I don't think it was August. No, there was just a bishop that was in, like, a high rank, like an archbishop that was fighting against slavery. He was like... And this is like in the 1500s. He was like, hey, this is not what God wanted. Like, this needs to stop. I'm going to fight this. And I was like, props to you, Catholic Church. But then you get, like, a little bit later to Pope Nicholas V, where he wrote the papal bulls that was like, yeah, enslave those Africans, because, like, the non-Christian Africans, because we need to manipulate them into our way of believing and owning them as slaves. Now, I want you to fact check me on that too. Pope Nicholas V, papal bulls on slavery.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, but just check it out, just to check it out too, like, for just the sake of research.
Yeah, I eventually will. I'm going through the history of the Catholic Church in my studies right now.
Oh, excellent.
But yeah, yeah. So I guess the best way to kind of get this to be understood, let me just illustrate a point here. So
go ahead.
Slavery's still around today. A third of the slaves in the world are sex slaves. A third of those are children. Slavery has not been abolished. In fact, I live in Florida, and that is like I think it's like number 3
sex trafficking
in the world of sex trafficking. Yes, So,
and I'm in Texas, so you know they got like that whole
What we
like
see-
I-40, like, you know, and it's bad
mhm.
with sex trafficking, which
The point I'm making with this is that even though this is an evil, horrible thing, and it is, especially with the way that it's being done now, there's nothing like there's no like salvation, like saving like part of this. Well, you know, it helps them get better. That's not the case, not anymore, for certain now, right? We could have like a little like, oh well, in Exodus it's for their own good, da da da, but that's not the case for sure now. But what we do see is that there are going to be punishments for people who do these things and do not repent from these things and do not stop this evil, and that's a good thing.
Well, that's all we have for today, folks. Yes, I am writing on this magic carpet again. So friggin' fun. And I also wanted to give a shout out to this Egypt map to Deriviere. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. But it looks like, I might be mistaken, but it looks like they're also providing the music. I mean, it's just a hint. You know? But yeah, let me just look around. These things move. Oh yeah, let's see. Whoa! Whoa! Jesus, so fun. But all right. Let's pop down for a second. I really want to see more from this map. This is fun. But let me just get my good old trusty mirror out real quick. And pop. There we go. A little late on saying pop. But anyways. Okay. So, what do you think, audience? Do you think God is pro-slavery or not? I leave that up to you to decide. Did God endorse slavery or not? Let me know in the comments, and we will see you for the next part. That will be part 5. Alright, see ya!